So we have three different presenters today, each discussing situation with local Afghani refugees. And Sarah, if you'd like, why don't you start us off?
Sure. My name is Sarah Williams. I work with World Relief. IRC&S were the local resettlement agencies in the Central Valley. I've been working with refugees for 8 years now, and then 1 year before that as a volunteer. Um, it's been a joy, and it's just been a privilege to be just a part of our new families' lives as they just kind of integrate and get involved in the community. And it's also just been a joy to see the community embrace them as well. Just wanted to kind of share about the Afghan situation right now, as many of you probably have heard so much about it. Back in July, we started doing kind of a mass evacuation of Afghans out of Afghanistan right prior to the collapse. So probably mid-July up into the collapse, we were getting families just left and right. Sometimes we would have a 24-hour notice. Sometimes we'd find out that morning that families were coming. Sometimes we would get maybe a couple families a day, one family, sometimes as many as 21 to 30 individuals in a night. And then unfortunately, when the collapse happened, everything kind of came to a stop. It was very devastating. We had families that we resettled over the years, and IRC, I'm sure as well, that were back in Afghanistan visiting families. They weren't able to travel the year before because of COVID. They also knew as we began the evacuation, leaving Afghanistan, that the security situation was going to get worse. So we had about 50 of our Afghans stuck in Afghanistan. I'm not sure IRC could maybe share on that. So it affected the ones that had already been here, that were back there visiting. And then all of our families, of course, were just devastated because everybody still has family or friends or loved ones that were affected. So after they started evacuating, they got families onto the military bases throughout the United States, starting at Fort Lee, and then they kind of spread out. So once they got through that, they were able to process their applications and all their paperwork. And depending on kind of if they were working with the United States and had an SIV, special immigrant visa, in process, they were trying to kind of complete that. And then other ones are kind of coming into the United States under different immigration status. So once that took a few weeks, and then we started getting cases. And within about 6 weeks, I think we received about 112 Afghans coming off the military bases. And of course, as we all know, housing has been very difficult through COVID and just different circumstances. And I just think just the way the economy is right now, there's just very, very low inventory. So right now we have about 17 families in hotels, 2 families in churches, and housing it picked up for a while. We were able to get, I believe, about 17 or 18 homes for families from the first round. And now it's kind of at a slow down again with Christmas and holidays and stuff. People don't tend to move during the holiday season. But yeah, so the cases, they're doing great. Staff has been really, really stretched thin. We were blessed to have an AmeriCorps team that's been here for about 6 weeks helping us. And most of the day, they're just out driving families to appointments and kind of catching up on their case files and making sure they have food. But yeah, the cases will be open with us for 90 days. So just, making sure the kids, even if they're in transitional housing in a hotel or living in a church, trying to make sure all the kids are in school, making sure the families have all their benefits from the county offices, they have their medical screenings. And then we have a couple of people that are working solely on trying to find housing. And again, we've been so blessed just to have, faith leaders in the community step up and offer housing or just offer support and friendships to our families.
Thank you so much. There may be some questions, but I
Yes.
think we're going to have our next 2 presenters speak. If you're able to stick around, please do, but I realize you
Absolutely.
may have other duties to attend to. Alec, would you like to tell us a report from the IRC?
Yeah, sure. So hello everybody. My name is Alec Castellano. Thank you for inviting us here to speak. I'll just give kind of a brief introduction of the Sherlock office and the work that we do. So right now we have about 300 clients that we're working with. As was mentioned, a lot of them are staying in hotels right now because the housing crisis here in the Central Valley is just outrageous. It's really hard to find them permanent housing as of right now. And we are expecting more clients coming in, up to 500 of them by the end of next year. And I think that is the most that Turlock has ever managed at one time. So that's how I know that the crisis is serious and increasing. Help is needed constantly. But the IRC has been working with a bunch of different cultural groups from around the world, not just here in California, but other countries as well. And right now we're seeing a really big need for asylum for a lot of different countries, especially in the Middle East. A lot of our clients are coming from Afghanistan, as you may know, who are escaping religious and social persecution. Right now, our current needs are we have a wide range of different needs right now. We are looking for interns, so people who are currently enrolled in university or who have recently graduated and may be interested in starting an internship with us. We are also looking for volunteer drivers to help pick up furniture donations and drop them off for the clients that we are able to put into permanent housing. We're also in need of PPE equipment because of the COVID-19 pandemic. Masks are needed, hand sanitizer is needed, all size masks, large, small for the children. Let's see, we're also in need of winter clothing. As you know, a lot of them are used to the cold weather that we get here in the winter months. So it's important to be able to provide them with proper clothing to survive the seasons. And so that's one thing that we're reaching out to the community for: jackets, sweatpants, beanies, stuff like that. A lot of them are facing food insecurity as well. We have been partnering with different community groups here around the Central Valley. Food. I'm not sure if y'all are connected with anyone else in the community who can help us with that need. What we've been doing is asking for Visa gift cards to that we can give to the clients so they can go out and buy their own groceries. But yeah, the IRC is just really grateful to have partners like you who are willing to step up and dedicate their time to help us serve our clients, and we're really looking forward to a fruitful partnership here. So thank you for allowing us to come and speak. I'll drop a link in the chat that you can share with those who might be interested in volunteering for us. All they have to do is go online, fill out the application, and somebody will be in contact with them. There's also an email address for donations. If you know anyone who's interested in donating any of the items that I mentioned, that would be awesome. We could set an appointment. All you have to do is send an email to the email address, and we'll be in contact. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much for that information. Sarah, if you want to put any kind of link to World Relief in the chat as well, I know that people will be able to step forward to help. We've also asked our friend, our colleague, Imam Ahmed, to give a little update because this community has also been providing direct support to refugees. So Ahmed, please tell us your update. You may be muted, I think.
Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Okay, so for those who don't know me yet, Ahmed, the Imam of the Islamic Center of Modesto. It has been a while, just overwhelming and busy with many things. Regarding the refugee, we had a meeting with the IRC director and some of the staff, and they asked how can we partner with them for the help. The refugees that are in Turlock and some in Modesto, some of them there are in hotels where the hotel is providing them with like a cooking facility. Other hotels does not have the the kitchen and the kitchen aid for them to cook. I was able to get hold of one of our congregants who has a commercial kitchen here in Modesto. So about now for 3 weeks or 4 weeks, been cooking meals every day, 80 plus hot meals with delivery for those who are unable to cook, as well as grocery and hygienic stuff. Now, for those who are leaving the hotels and being settled in an apartment or a house, we are able to help them with the furniture, also to help them look for jobs. I know we are short staff everywhere with the World Relief, IRC, which taken a little bit of time for them to get their paperwork done, Social Security, to find jobs. So that's why some of them are reaching out for help with the rent, to pay the rent. And this is where the third pillar in Islam, which is giving alms and charity, comes handy here. It can be given to those who are in need. So we were able to help them with the rent. This is pretty much it regarding refugees.
We'll take the rest of our gathering today, most of it to discuss our response to this. But while Sarah and Alec are with us, does anyone have any questions specifically about what we've heard in terms of what we can do or what is happening with World Relief and IRC? These are experts literally in the field doing this work. So if there's questions, this is a time to ask.
So, can I go?
Yeah.
So the subject of refugees is really it's really a subject for all of us, and helping them is it's a duty upon all of us. However, I feel just out of saying this out of responsibility, not to be overburdened with the numbers who are coming, but realizing the load that those two great organizations, World Relief and IRC, in our area, and the good job they're doing towards refugees. My concern and the question, it's been a long time that I did not find an answer to. As far as the distribution of the refugees for the counties, I know Sacramento. I don't know which county is it, but Stanislaus, San Joaquin, and then San Diego. Those are the three main places where the refugees are coming. And of course, the refugees issue is not going to be resolved in a day and night. There are more coming on the way. The question is, can we do something as religious organizations to reach out to our government offices or to our congressmen about why only speaking about ourselves, Stanislaus and San Joaquin, we receive refugees? Why the distribution will be equal to other counties as well? And if that continues, can we ask for more assistance and help on the top of what we currently have for refugees? This has been a concern and a question.
Sarah, Alec, who wants to tackle that?
Maybe speak a little bit to that. So from what my understanding is, that's true. Everything you said is completely true, and I agree with it. That we should be trying to utilize all of the space in California to find homes for refugees, because the housing crisis is only getting worse here in the Central Valley. I think the previous thought process was that the Central Valley is known for its agriculture and that they should be able to have affordable food and housing here, just because historically speaking, I mean, the Central Valley has been seen as a non-expensive place to live. But with the way that the economy is going, I think that the IRC should be open to opening another office, maybe north, more north in California, and also taking advantage of some of the southern part of the valley. But yeah, that's a really good question. I couldn't give like a straight answer. That is a concern that I'm happy to pass on. I agree with that.
I can add a little. I think too, when they're going through the processing and they're going through interviews, especially prior to the collapse and even now at the bases, they're asking them if they have like a friend or relative in any state or city. And so if they provide somebody in Modesto or Turlock or Sacramento, then they try to bring them to those locations just so they have support or they have family. Sacramento is now considered impacted. So the only time they'll get arrivals is if it's a sibling or a parent. They call it the US tie. And they have to wait for the government to organize their flight, even from the base to Sacramento. We had a situation where there's 4 brothers and 2 sisters in Sacramento, but the sister on the base, they're sending her to Maryland because they just didn't feel like Sacramento could have the capacity. It's a family of 7. So the brother said, if she goes to Maryland, the only thing she's going to do is ask them to use the resettlement funds to book her tickets to come to Sacramento, because she'll be, kind of on her own, where we can do everything for her. So then I feel like that's going to be a big trend, and we're seeing it like every day. We're going to have a secondary migration into California, into the Central Valley, because they're reselling them in places like Missouri or Kentucky or upstate New York. And they're like, why are we here when we have family or we have friends, or there's an Afghan community in other areas, and they felt like they have more job opportunities and stuff. So we're getting people, because we're kind of at capacity right now. I think IRC has reached their capacity of taking new cases. I know Bethany Family Services, they just were approved to be an affiliate under another resettlement agency in Fresno. So I reached out to them yesterday, asked if they're taking any cases in Modesto yet, because that's the longer term plan. They are not, but they will take cases in Fresno. But the other thing unique to California is we are the only state, I believe, that does county by county refugee resettlement. So Stanislaus, we've opted into the refugee. So we have at the county offices, we have a resettlement or a team, like a department that works just with refugee cases. And then our public health does all the health screenings. So if they went to Merced County, they can still be resettled there, but they won't have the ESL classes that are just for refugees, employment. They won't have the health screenings. So California, I think that advocacy is a great idea. Call congressman. We have a state refugee coordinator that you can also email, and just see what can be done to open up other counties to be able to take cases. Because even if it's in Merced and they're, families in Modesto, it's not far, but it spreads it out, and that will, alleviate some of this housing situation that we're having right now. So great question.
If you want to include the contact information for who
Sure.
we could contact to advocate, as you've said, put it in the chat, and also share it
Awesome.
with the email list. I see Lori has a comment or question.
Yeah, I have a question. Is there anything being done for like mental health services, considering that there's trauma involved in having to evacuate and having to leave your homeland and coming to a new place? I've been working with some people, not in this particular realm, but some people who were refugees as children, fleeing their country and coming to the United States, and the kind of the trauma that they're still trying to unwind in their own lives. And so, the question is there anything happening in the county or in these organizations around, providing mental health services, particularly around trauma?
That's a great question. Yeah, no, definitely our clients are coming in with trauma from past experiences. I can't speak much to that just because I handle the volunteers and donations for the Turlock IRC office, but I know that there are psychiatrists that we refer certain clients to, either free of charge or with some kind of government discount. Yes. So that's definitely a big problem for a lot of our clients, because a lot of them have gone through physical abuse and mental abuse, or who have had their families torn apart. So that is a big concern for our office, and we're always trying to find different pathways to help them with their PTSD or whatever disorder they may have.
Yeah, and we've had conversations recently with Sierra Vista as well, and we're kind of seeing if there's any way of even hiring maybe a mental health professional that with language capacity. We also, and I know IRC does too, we also have women's programs for Afghan women, and that ours is a group only one, and that we had our first official year was last year, and just to see the women from the beginning of the class through the 8 months was incredible. They went from, and they really openly share. It's not just ESL. We also have a Friday class where they just learn a deeper topic about living in America. And the things that they opened up about was just incredible. And it was just such a support to each other. They would encourage each other. They even stopped and prayed one time during the class. So that was amazing to see. But yeah, mental health is a little bit different this year than it was last year. And that's definitely something on our hearts. There are referrals that can be made. It's just the language capacity that, concerns us. So that's something we're all looking into right now. And we have, again, the mosque has been a great support. We had a situation a couple weeks ago, and I reached out to one of the Afghans who's kind of a spiritual leader in the community, and he came and met me like at 9:00 at night to meet with the family. So we really appreciate that support as well.
Thank you both so much. I don't want to keep you from what I'm sure are other duties and a busy day, but I really appreciate you spending this time with us, but giving us those links. And if there's anything that you would like to follow up with our larger email list, email me. And I do think that Andrew's trying to get in one more comment or question as well. Yes? Oh, that was a mistake. Okay. So we're going to break into a dialogue. Oh, sorry. It was Stuart who's trying to get in a question.
No, Shalom. I think that's really hilarious that you confused me for Andrew, because my brother.
Well, his hand went up for a moment.
No, but my brother's name is Andrew, and people are always confusing us all the time. But anyway, that's pretty funny. Hey, would you two, Sarah and Alec, would you be able to put in your contact information, just like an email in the chat too? So I'm working with the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and want to just make sure we keep the connection that we have, but maybe if there's something that we can do more, because we're kind of thinking about it, talking about, I was just sending an email to my group. Anyway, so it'd be great to have those. Thanks a lot.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Here, let me drop it right now. Okay.
So again, thank you for your work, and thank you for this update and your time that you've spent with us. We'll hopefully be able to follow up with you after our dialogue and discussion.
Wonderful. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
So let's go and pause the recording.